There is something to be said for keeping the spirit of a thing alive. It doesn't just happen on its own. Every time we recognize tradition, when the tree goes up at Rockefeller Center, when a ceremony is held, a salute is given, even something as simple as a handshake. These are all things initiated by people. Traditions don't just happen. They are consciously kept, and when they aren't, they disappear. In a time when the world seems to be moving at too fast a speed to catch your breath, tradition can offer the slice of nostalgia we need to take that beat and simply enjoy what the previous generations had and how they did it. Improvement doesn't always have to mean shutting down what once was. Sometimes it can be about holding on to some of those traditions. Some elements of our lives require constant improvement, constant reevaluation. But when we find something that works, it doesn't require any more change. The tree at Rockefeller Center hasn't changed much at all because it works. For motorcyclists, we've seen great improvements in the builds of our cycles over the decades, but traditions such as Old School Biker Fest can be the glue that keep us all together as a community. Holding a community together takes someone to commit to it and organize it. It takes charity and it takes strength. You see, a community is much like your body. You have to keep putting in the work to make it stay strong. Improve what needs improvement, but don't forget about the things that work. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to The Next Story. I'm your host, Justin, and I'm here today with Paul Maloney. How you doing, Paul?
G'day, mate. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. So, Paul, you are the owner and operator of Outback Choppers.
Correct.
And you are also the organizer and designer of the Orange County Chopper Fest. Tell me a little bit about your history with the motorcycles.
Well, motorcycles I've been doing all my life back home in Australia and over here. I mean, building choppers and everything else was only like 10% of what it was, and that was all because everybody that never rode a motorcycle all of a sudden was watching stuff on TV going like, oh, I want to ride a chopper. So then everybody then came in and wanted to ride this. And those were like the 10% of the people. But your main source that paid the bills and everything else was your service, your parts, accessories. What was the alternative to going to, to the dealership? So, 10 years, 24/7, it was great. It was great money, but you get burnt out like anything
Sure,
after
yeah.
a while. And everybody said they were a great mechanic until it was time to come and hire somebody. They're either drunk, they're either OD'd on something, or they're in jail. I was just like, I'm like, guys, can you show up on a sober day and work? But it was just like, good help was hard to find back then.
Okay.
And you ended up doing everything pretty much yourself. So just when you're starting to wrench on bikes, the phone would ring or this would ring or whatever. So I ended up finding some great guys that worked for me for the long length of time. And it was a great blast. We had bikini bike wash. We did a lot of fundraisers. We did a thing for when Indian Larry passed away. We did stuff for the tsunami. We did stuff for, you name it, Red Cross thing. I mean, there wasn't a foundation that we didn't do a fundraiser for and where we didn't go. And it was a great time, but it was a lot of work and it takes a toll on you. Yeah. And, by the end of it, I ended up riding less than I did before I had a bike shop. It was just like the last thing I wanted to do afterwards was just talk about motorcycles when I left the shop. You go out somewhere to a bar and you still had your shirt on, says Outback Choppers, and everybody was trying to hone in on you and ask you 1,000 different questions. What do you think's wrong with my bike, mate? If it's making this noise, what do you think it is? I'm like, I was just like, I don't need this shit. If you can't spend the money and come down to the shop, then I don't want to talk to you. So it became, you had enough after a while. So I walked away from it for like almost 10 years. And in the last 3-4 years, I've got my own place over here. And I finally had a chance to build one bike chopper for myself that wasn't sold. And it was a frame that I had for this I kept since 2007. And I wanted to have an old school chopper that was still that nice look, but 50 years from now, it can still look in place.
Yeah.
Because some of the other bikes were built, like you saw the choppers in the 90s and in the 2000s. Yeah, they still had the fat tire and everything. I mean, I got a nice 250 tire on this because it's a rigid, it gives me suspension, right? Yeah. But yeah, I still wanted to keep it that old retro school look with that old Springer front end and that old look. And that's what I kept it as, and this now is my daily rider. And it's funny now because a lot of people go, nobody rides choppers anymore. I said, maybe in your school or in your trend it does. And I said, it's not a trend. I said, it was the custom culture from the 50s and 60s. And all the old school guys, everybody I still know that rides choppers, nothing ever changed. It's still the same. It's that it was always that way. It's TV that made it go this and that way.
Right. Yeah.
And then, they were all store-bought choppers. Nobody ever really made their own actual motorcycles.
Yeah.
So it's the old school guys still that I know today. They go like, Paul, about time you got back on the road again and started riding. We missed you. And it's great to see that it's not lost. And I see now some of the younger guys now with the old school bobber and choppers that they're coming up. And as a matter of fact, they're coming to the Orange County Biker Fest. There's a lot of new young guys out there that are really good at what they do, and they got a great eye and great lines for stuff, and they're mixing that old in with the new, and they're coming out with some really, really cool stuff and setting a whole new sort of wave of stuff that, it was from the 60s, but they're mixing it in with what they got with today, and some really cool stuff they're coming up with. And it's great to see that not everybody's just going to like Harley, or not just Harley, but some of these other, through Indian and everything else, and just buying something like everybody else has got. They're like, I can work on this. And the best way to know your motorcycle is to, one, clean it, because that way you'll see where something is going wrong with it.
Right.
But you'll learn on something. What's the old school guys? And they're more than happy to shoot the shit with you and learn. You'll learn from them. And if you don't have a cocky attitude and you're not a smart ass, they're more than happy to sit down and teach you the old ways. I mean, that's how I learn, know. And you're never too old to learn something new.
Well, and even learning like that, it even opens the roads for if somebody wanted to go buy that new bike from Harley, but then make it their own.
Yeah.
Start changing things up, doing things, and how much, they want to. I'm one that I kind of like that, being able to blend old looks with new technology.
Yeah.
I always think that that's kind of a cool thing. So when you can take something like that and go, all right, let's modify this, let's modify that, and or maybe I don't need all this. Start stripping things off, and that's where the bobber craze ends up coming from, right? Like, what can we take off this bike? What's extra? How do I get rid of the weight?
Yeah, it's been amazing to see, because I've been to some bike shows and I've seen them, and I've walked around and looked at some of the stuff, and it's amazing what they're coming up with. I mean, it's really cool, and they're not copying anybody else's stuff. It's like they're creating something in their own mind and saying like, and they're proud of it, because they're like, what, I can do this. And nobody else has got this. It's so funny, because it's like when I did this bike here, I was like, what am I going to do? I mean, I like an old black chopper, but I was like, what? Let me make something else as something on the side. So I made these emblems on the side here that, these are just hand cut, and you just make them up yourself, and they're just something that's all retro school stuff. But that's just an example of what some of the guys are now doing. They're making their own parts, and they're trying to sell them online, and they're creating their own little business for themselves. They're doing very well at it. It's good, because those guys, I mean, you're going to get the customers that see what you're doing. Then they're going to come to your shop. Then when they come to your shop, they're going to go, would you mind working on my bike? Would you mind changing the tire? While you're at it, what if I did this with my bike? And what if I did that? And they see a few other bikes they have in the shop, and all of a sudden now they're starting to grow a business, which is good. So that's why when I created this Orange County Biker Fest, it was all about not just having an old school bike event that we all sort of miss. We used to have like the Easy Rider rodeos I used to have up in Middletown. I know they still have them in the Midwest and everything else like that. But every bike event I've been to since I got back on the road, they'd have it in a parking lot somewhere, a few vendors here, and there was an atmosphere, but there's something missing there.
Okay.
So I said, what? Let's have a place where you can have the biker games. You can have the keg racing, but at the same time, you want the old school vendors that are there, and you mix in the best of both worlds. And so you got the new guys that are up and coming, and you got the older guys with their antique bikes, and there's a good camaraderie and a good mix in there. I did a little test last year in August, and it came out very well. So I said, I need a really big place to do this, and I found a place. So it's got 7 acres, and it's just like the lady said, you think you can fill this place? And I'm like, can I fill this place? I said, let me get out my old Rolodex again. I said, all the same people are still in there. I said, g'day fellas. They're like, Paul, you still do another event? I'm like, yeah. They're like, we're in. So I said, great, that's what I wanted to do. And now there's a lot of guys doing stuff with veterans, like the guys for Combat Customs.
Yes, yeah.
They do a great job, and Billy the biker told me all about their story and introduced me to Mike and the guys that are there. And I said, what, I got to have them at at this event, because I said that's going to create awareness for what they're doing, because they're a 501c3 and they need a lot of donations as far as, if you're not selling your parts. I said, well, donate them to these guys. Stop dust them on the shelf. They're not doing anything. Put them to good use. Give them to these guys, because I said some of these guys can't afford their bikes and whatever. So I said they're doing out of the goodness of their own heart and putting these and their own blood, sweat and tears into this.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Let's promote these guys and bring them to this show at the same time. Certain people know, but there's a lot of people that don't know.
Yeah.
Of these awareness groups that are out there.
And it is the blend. Like, I remember when we first talked on the phone. I was telling you how when I lived in Las Vegas, we go down the Laughlin River run every year.
Yeah.
And from I was there every year from 2009 to 2016. In 2009, you'd go there and it was all like, here was a parts swap meet. I mean, some of these parts look like they'd been through hell, but it was cool. You're all these are these old pipes I need to get. And then by 2016, that wasn't there anymore. Instead, Vance and Hines was there, putting pipes on the $50,000. Which I'm not knocking any of that.
Yeah.
It's just it's a different shift. And all the old bands that were there back then that were these cool, unique bands that you'd go see, And
I know.
By the end of it, it was just cookie cutter bands.
There's a lot more women out there riding now than there ever was.
Yeah.
And, the guys still have this, the bro ego and everything else when they're out there, and they get intimidated by that. So I said, you know what, let's create the baddest ladies bike contest, because there's a lot of girls out there that ride that want to, and they wrench on their own bike. No, it's so fun. I mean, like, what do you want to, I'd rather go down the road following a beautiful lady in a nice tight leather outfit than a 400-pound guy with a swamp ass and a plumber's crack going,
That's not much of a choice right there, man. That's easy.
But it's just like, when I actually had my shop, I always used to have some girls that just wanted to come in and work behind the counter and that. There's some girls, they come in, they wanted to actually learn. And a couple of the guys would start teaching them. And then I sent a couple of the girls to get certified as a state inspector, and we started doing it. So then some of the inspections would come around sometimes. So the guys would come in and they'd try to be like, they'd beef themselves up and look like this to try and impress the girls. And some of the guys that had ball tires or the stuff wasn't working. So they'd try and sweet talk around the girls and say and my girls, they're having none of this shit. They're saying, listen, you can talk all you want, but your bike still failed. And they knew more about the bikes than the guys did.
Awesome.
And all of a sudden now, they when they saw they got put in their place, they recoiled how they were. And you should have seen, they went from their head was this big to this big in both areas, But it's good. So with this Biker Fest, it's a thing where we have, like I said, the old and new, and it's part and parcel for everybody to come together and show us what you actually have and be proud of it, Okay, we got the baddest to the bone dog contest. So there's a lot of people who ride with it. A lot of people bring their pets, and dress them up,
Nice.
So we got that. We got the tattoo contest. We got the mustache contest. Everybody knows Billy the Bike. He's going to be doing his book signing. He's going to be there.
Nice.
So he's got 1,000 books to sell. So everybody better come and buy them. If you're not, he'll slap you in the side of the head if you don't buy one.
And it's a great book too. I read it after I interviewed him for season 1.
Oh, you did?
And at the time of the interview, I wasn't even halfway through.
Yeah.
But I ended up. After the interview, I cranked through the rest of that book, man. It's a good read no matter who you are.
I mean, and you can't make that shit up. I mean, everything in that book, it's for real, and that's Billy. I mean, I've known him for over 20-something odd plus years, and believe me, what's in that book, it's all true. I got my good friend Christina, she's the patch lady.
Okay.
So she's going to be coming along, and she's going to have a sewing machine there and whatever patches you need done or whatever.
Oh, that's so great to hear, because that is one of the number one complaints I hear about people going to any kind of motorcycle, anything. They're always talking about there used to be people that do patches, and there's never anybody there anymore.
Well, it's keeping that old Rolodex and being in good spirits with everybody that and respect back then. We're going to do a bike blessing also. So the guys from the Christian Motorcycle Foundation, they're going to be doing a bike lesson at 12 o'clock. We got live bands playing through the day. We got...
Do you know any of the bands already?
We got... who we got? Flirting with Disaster, and the other bands is the Irish Handcuffs, and the girl that plays on that, she's got pretty mean vocals, and she throws it down.
What's the date for this?
It's May 18th, Sunday, May 18th. It's from 10 through until 4 o'clock. So entry to the gate is 10 o'clock. And it's $5 admission only. I mean, if you can't afford $5, go away. We don't want you. You're there for a freeload. If you don't want to pay $5, see 2 bands there all day. What else we got? We got a petting zoo also. A lady's going to bring her petting zoo. But it's like, if you can name something that used to be at the events that you don't see anymore,
it's going to be
pretty
there.
much we're going to have that at our event.
Nice. And where is this going to be now?
It's in Warwick. It's in Pine Island. It's 240 Pine Island Turnpike. So if you go on straight out from Warwick, it's Pine Island Turnpike. It's right there. If you go to the Facebook page under the Orange County Biker Fest, it's got many different flyers that are on there.
Just go to Facebook and type in Orange County Biker Fest?
Yeah, and that'll take you to the page. It'll show you everything that we're going to have there. So, like I said, we're going to have the keg races. We're going to have the slow racing. We get a great turnout for this one. We'll do another one next year. So, the swap meet is...
I was going to ask if this is going to be an every year kind of a thing.
Yeah, it is. With the swap meet, we've got over 100 plus vendors for that. It's only $25 to do that. $5 for entry, and then, like I said, we have not just for the swap meet, but then we have all the other vendors that are there also. So from t-shirts to jewelry to knives, people make hats, all you name. Like I said, that you hadn't seen before, they're going to be there. So it's going to be, the bike contest is going to be great because, like I said, some of the older guys that don't have a lot of the antique bike contests around anymore, they only have it within their own clubs at certain places. So this way now, it's for everybody. So the new school guys can see what the old school guys did.
And light a little fire to bring that,
exactly.
That
and they can shoot the shit with them because, like I said, you got the best of both worlds. So
blend
everybody
old and new, man.
But it's going to be a blast, and we can't wait for it.
Excellent.
Rain or shine, we're doing it.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, buddy. Good to see you. And you're going to be there also.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep, we are going to be there. We're going to be doing some filming.
Yep.
And so they'll... Actually, anybody watching the episode right now, we're going to cut to our filming from the Orange County Biker Fest. See you there.
Tires
Hello and welcome back. I'm Justin, your host. I'm here today with my friend Tommy Gleason. He's a retired City of Newburgh Police Department motor officer. Tommy is going to talk to us about what to do when you drop your bike. Other than turning red and trying to hide from everybody with the embarrassment and shame of what just happened, but we gotta clean up the evidence right away, right?
It's part of it. It's part of motorcycling.
How do we do this? I mean, motorcycles, they're not lightweight.
They are not lightweight, and what we're going to be demonstrating on is basically an electric glide. It's a FLH P1, what we ride in patrol, and there's two techniques. I'm going to demonstrate the one that I find most effective. It's all legs, and the way the motorcycles go down, you can get them up a little bit, and we'll show you that. You don't have to crash a motorcycle to have to pick it up. You could be washing it in your driveway, you could be rolling it in your garage, and you could slip. When a motorcycle starts to go and it's going to land on you, the best thing you can do is get out of its way and let it down easily so you don't hurt yourself.
Tommy, this is reminding me of something. In season 1, episode 2, we did an interview, and you told me about an incident where you were on duty on patrol and you dropped your motorcycle. What happened there?
Oh, I went over that, and yeah, I picked it up, and the kickstand is, if it's up in the air and it's exposed, you put it out, and when I flipped it up, I always do that. I didn't do it that day. Flipped it right up, and the kickstand not being flipped out, it dropped on the other side. Now I dropped it twice. It's not going to even start at this point. I'm probably going to have to pop start it. And the corners were full of people, and they got a great kick out of that, Justin.
So you got to pick up your motorcycle not once,
2 times.
That's
That's
fantastic.
in front of a large audience. The motorcycle goes over for whatever reason.
Okay.
The first thing you have to do is make sure you're in a safe area, pick the motorcycle up. If you can, improve your lie. You know, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Yeah. Right? So it's a motorcycle, it's on its side. How much more damage are you going to do to it? If you can grab the front tire or rear tire and pull it around a little bit to make it easier so you're lifting downhill, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right.
I
a little bit better leverage?
Yes, you're going to get better. If there's an uphill side of where the land that motorcycle rests on, get the seat to that uphill side, because you're going to put your rear end in that saddle and get down as low as you can, grab the handlebar and a crash bar, and you are going to do short, choppy steps, and you are going to stand that motorcycle up with that on your heels, and you walk it backwards. The smallest of people, I'm not a big man, can pick up a 1,200, 1,100 pound motorcycle if done properly.
Excellent. Beautifully well done, Tommy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the next story. I'm here today at Granite Barbell with Brett Somerville and Katie Coralino. How you guys doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good,
Awesome.
very good.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you for coming.
I had my first introduction to Granite Barbell a few years back when you did your first Down with the Thickness strongman competition. I came over and I had a friend that used to work out with you guys. He introduced me to it. Completely changed the way that I look at working out. What is it that separates Granite Barbell from everywhere else?
I've been lifting for 33 years. Been in strongman for 21 or 22 now. When I opened up the gym, it became natural for me to utilize the strongman implements for everyday working out. And people really caught on to it, and the gym grew from there. Katie was actually probably one of my first clients. She's been with me now for almost 10 years.
Yeah, initially I just kind of stumbled upon an ad for the gym. Figured I'd check it out. I used to be in the Army Reserves and found out that my unit got tapped for deployment, and I'm gonna be honest, I was the person who I was worried that, you know, if something happened to one of my guys that I wouldn't be able to, you know, help them out or drag them out of the way or whatever. Found out about Brett, so went over, initially just came in just for initial training, didn't really know what strongman was at all. And within probably 5-6 months of being with him, went and did my first strongman show down in the city, and then kind of just caught the bug from there. So, you know, went and did my deployment. There was a couple strongman things there that I was able to jump in and do, but then came back, started working for him full time. You know, at this point now we put on probably over 10 charity shows. We put on, this will be our 5th Down with the Thickness this year.
How did you feel that this fared compared to just a standard military training that was going on?
Felt it was a lot more functional. So, you know, military is stereotypical push-ups, sit-ups, run, pull-ups, whatever. You know, this stuff, like when you got farmer's handles, that could be, I've done ones that are 225 pounds each hand. You know, I've done sandbag carries of 150 pounds plus, you know, things like that. You think of carrying a grown person, you know, carrying someone with all their gear on, because, you know, if you're carrying a grown man with all his gear, you're looking at least 250 pounds. Right. I'm 5'3" and came in here, I was 150 pounds. I'm not moving much there, you know, until someone teaches me how to use my body to its fullest potential. It gave me the confidence that I could do my job, and again, if something went south, that gave me the confidence that I could help my guys out.
You said you've been working out for 33 years. That hasn't all been strongman, right?
No, so it started like every kid, you know, you see the muscle magazines, so you start bodybuilding. Then it went into more of a power bodybuilding, where I was using more of the main movements, but heavy, like heavy bodybuilding movements. And then I actually died it down for a show, but that didn't look good, didn't feel good. You know, what separates Granite Barbell from everyone else is you walk into a commercial gym, it's corporate. You know, you know, no chalk and all this stuff. Hey, listen, I hate the corporate feel. I want that genuine feeling when people come in here that they can accomplish things that they never thought they could accomplish. And that's what I think strongman brings out. You watch it on TV, see these mammoth individuals lifting stones. Well, guess what? I got Grandma Susie lifting stones too. It might not be 400-pound stones, but it's 85-pound stones, and they're having fun doing it.
Yeah.
Things get boring, things get routine. When you come in here, there's thousands of different things we could do with all these different implements. So it makes training fun. They don't dread coming to the gym, and it changes them physically, but also mentally.
That's how I felt about it, because I used to do, you know, I was former military, so I got into all the calisthenics side of things, and then I never got quite into bodybuilding, but got into, you know, like you said, as a kid, you know, Flex Magazine and all these old magazines, and so you grew up thinking, you know, okay, 3 sets of 8 to 12 is, you know, for, you know, so many different exercises, and you thought that was just it. And then I started learning a little bit more about powerlifting and started to understand, okay, that 1 to 5 rep range. When I got introduced to you guys with that first down to thickness, it did just blow me away. The guy that introduced me, my friend, he's a big dude, and I was like, nah, you know, I've heard of strongman, I've seen strongman, that's for big guys. And he's all like, no, man, just, you know, give it a shot. And you know, I came in and I did not place well at all the first year, but I had so much fun doing it. I think I was tied for last place out of novices the first year, and then I missed the next 2, but I came back last year and I actually wound up in 4th place, and made me think, you know what, maybe I owe it to myself to really...
Maybe you got podium next time, that's
right.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I owe it to myself to really try this.
I mean, we got plenty of people who had no intention of coming here and competing. You know, like I got one girl who came in who was a college athlete who, you know, she graduated college, so that kind of stopped, but she was a softball player, didn't really think of weights really at all. I got another woman who is a housewife now. She's getting ready to train, she's training for her second USS national competition. Oh, wow. Had no intention of doing strongman at all, and then, you know, kind of like you, just tried it out, fell in love with it, caught the bug, and now, you know, she's going for her second national level competition, you know? Yeah. So I truly believe strongman, powerlifting, anyone could do it.
And like you said, fun.
Yes.
You know, that's the biggest thing.
It's not boring, right? So people go to a gym, they go on the treadmill.
Right.
Then they go to the lat pull down. Then they might do some dumbbell work. No, here, you could do anything. You could do the farmers, the stones, the yoke. And it really is for every individual. Yeah. And what that does too is it keeps people interested in staying fit.
Yes.
And that's where people have the fall off. You know, they start off, you know, like a bat out of hell, and then they just get bored. And when you get bored with something, you don't do it. Yeah. But you can't get bored with your health and your fitness. When you do that, you die early. Yeah. So why not have some fun doing it and do some cool movements along the way?
Yeah. And the functionality aspect of it as well. I mean, I know it's made big changes in my life. I noticed, I mean, as a motorcycle rider, for starters, I drive a very, very big bike, and it's, you know, just the control I have over the bike compared to before I started doing
the stability, right?
Yes.
The stomach, the upper back.
Yeah.
I hear that from a lot of dirt bike riders.
Okay.
I have a client that's a dirt bike rider, and with all the jumping and everything else on the bike, he feels more stable. His forearms are stronger to grip, his legs to grip the bike, everything right down to the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, you're not kidding. And even if, whatever it is you're doing, yeah, you're right, dirt bike and motorcycle, even just living your normal life, carrying in groceries becomes a heck of a lot easier when you're comparing it to 225-pound farmer carries,
Exactly.
So this year is going to be the 5th Down with the Thickness competition,
Yes.
you said. Well, can you talk at all about the events you got planned yet, or is that a little bit of a surprise?
I'll let Katie take that.
Yeah, this year, I want to say we're doing an axle clean and press. We're doing the motorcycle drag, which we did probably 2-3 years ago. We did that. We're going to bring that back for this year. We have, in our gym, we have a big pulley system that's rated for 600 pounds. We just got to get another one set up. So we're going to hook, for now we'll hook up kettlebells or whatever, but basically you're going to sit, you're going to hoist it all the way up to our ceiling, so about 30 feet up, then all the way down, nice and controlled. We'll count how many reps you could do in a minute. I think we're doing farmer's carries and some sort of deadlift.
Now, is that kind of a standard setup for the competitions? Is there always like a deadlift and a carry, and is there a schematic to that, or?
Yeah, so usually you'll have an overhead, you'll have some type of deadlift, a medley, or a carry. But again, with what we do at Granite Barbell, we don't do the norm, right? We got the motorcycle drags, we got what Katie's talking about, basically a hay bale,
Okay.
lever system up. We've done Hercules holds here. We're always trying to think kind of outside the box. We want every year to succeed better than the previous year.
Okay.
And the only way you can do that is to be a little bit more creative. The more creative you are, the more people get interested. The more people that get interested, the more people end up having fun and trying the show. On May 24th at 1 o'clock, we'll be doing our charity show.
Okay.
100% of the proceeds go between the Walden Humane Society and my friend's Special Needs Dog Rescue.
Nice.
We will also be taking dog food, cat food, toys, beds here at the gym. But the show will be at the Last Whiskey Bar in Warwick, New York at 1 o'clock. You have a choice. You could do a circus dumbbell press. There's a max barbell deadlift and a car deadlift. So you can come have some whiskey, donate, or you can lift some big dumbbells, maybe do a car deadlift, a regular deadlift, and you can donate toward that way as well.
That's awesome. Now, you said you guys have done like 10 charity events. Is that a regular thing for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, we try to do at least one a year.
And is it always something different every year? Or?
Oh, we did a tattoo charity event.
Oh, wow, cool.
So we had some tattoo artists come in here, and you got to donate for your tattoo, and that went to an individual that was battling cancer at the time.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of times we like doing, kind of like deadlift parties, things like that, but we've changed it up. Like last year we did a bench press party. You know what I mean? We like to change it up every year, keep it fresh, and whoever wants to come walking through the door can walk through the door. They don't have to be a member of Granite Barbell. They can be from wherever. If you see our ad, you want to come on by, for either one of our charity shows or Down with the Thickness, come on in. If you don't know how to do the lifts, come talk to us. We'll show you how to do it.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to The Next Story. I'm your host, Justin, and I'm going to read you a second excerpt from my book, I Almost Forgot to Kill You, available now at my website, twowheeltimetraveler.com, where you will find a link to Amazon. You can order this book in paperback or ebook format. I pull the car around to the far side of the others, doing my best to hide it from the main road. It's at that moment I hear a trilling of sirens off in the distance. I look back to the highway to see a white van, its white and red lights struggling to be seen in the overpowering brightness of the sun. Shortly behind this vehicle are 4 squad cars, similar to the one which stopped me. The cavalcade rushes along the highway, well past the road to my location. Deciding not to waste any more time, I jump from the reeking smoke stink of the old car and rush to the minibike, my bare foot instantly finding the kickstart. With a quick swing of my leg, I fire up the engine and crank the throttle, whipping out a short rooster tail of dirt and rock as I spin the small cycle in a half circle and begin cutting a path through the desert, running just parallel to the main highway. The air is so thick with dust and heat, my throat dries painfully with every respiration, but I press on beneath the scorching sunlight. The comfort level I feel on this vehicle provides more questions than answers as I race through the gears and lean the bike to each direction, the movements coming to me as naturally as the beating of my heart. A smile pulls at the corners of my mouth as a sense of actual enjoyment washes through me. The bike begins to sputter, yanking me back into the seriousness of the situation. I look down and notice the fuel gauge is past the empty marker, probably the reason the bike was left in the first place. Easing up on the throttle, I allow the bike to coast for a bit while I try to look out as far as possible over the horizon. I can just make out a series of geometric patterns far ahead. It's a good bet I'm reaching a population density where I can hide out. Suddenly, the front tire of the bike smashes into a large rock, throwing me forward into the dirt, painfully striking my shoulder against a rough terrain. Crawling to my feet, I dust myself off as best I can and attempt to right it, but my shoulder immediately resists with a surge of lightning shooting through me. I turn and look at the approaching cityscape and realize I'm only a couple of miles away. Looking down at my bare feet, I decide I can still make the walk easily enough if the sun doesn't sap the strength from me first. Tune in next week